Are Democrats using their power to abuse the process? Joining us with more is former Deputy Assistant Attorney General in the DOJ's Criminal Division, John Malcolm. Sir, thanks for joining us this morning. Help break it all down for us. You know, you heard the sound bites right there. You heard Adam Schiff say it was incorrect the first time I said it, and then every other time after that. What do you make of that?
I have no idea whether Adam Schiff knows who the whistleblower is, but certainly staffers who reported directly to him know who he is. Look, it's widely rumored who that person is. I'm not going to name him because the major medias and congressmen have not named him. But look, I think the real significance of all of this is that there were people within the State Department who, when they had information they thought was derogatory of the president, they shared it with this whistleblower, who shared it with an attorney who is interested in performing a coup against President Trump. So the whistleblower had no firsthand information, but he's clearly connected to two Democrats who are not interested in protecting the reputation of the president. The president's got a real problem in terms of people at the State Department who do not wish to implement his policies, and rather they seek to undermine them.
The big moment that everybody got to talking about, probably because it was the only thing that wasn't really in the transcripts that you knew was coming, was this moment from the former ambassador Bill Taylor when he said this. Let's go ahead and play it.
A member of my staff could hear President Trump on the phone asking Ambassador Sondland about the investigations. Trump cares more about the investigations of Biden.
All right, so everybody's talking about how that implicates the president somehow, and this is this whole big explosive thing. My question to you is this. When they released that phone call transcript months ago, the president asks about Joe Biden being investigated, asks about 2016 being investigated in there. Right. What did we really learn from him saying that? I don't see anything new in that, and I feel like I'm crazy.
No, then I'm crazy too. I mean, it was like third-hand hearsay. You can certainly ask, and I'm sure they will ask, Ambassador Sondland about this next week. But what you had was a staffer overhearing a conversation between Ambassador Sondland and the president. So he heard the president asking about investigations. No shock there. He'd mentioned it on the call the day before with President Zelensky. Right, and then you hear Ambassador Sondland giving his characterization about what he thinks the president's priorities are. Okay, so they'll ask Ambassador Sondland about that next week and what the basis of that statement was, and he'll say whether he said it, didn't say it, and why he believed it or doesn't believe it.
Let me ask you, from what you've heard yesterday, and look, I preface this by saying I know there's a lot more to come and a lot more that we're going to learn, but from what you've heard already, in your mind, does this clear anybody?
No, I think that yesterday's hearing isn't going to change anybody's mind. If you believe that the president was using irregular channels in order to dig up dirt on a political rival for personal gain, that's what you believe. If you believe that the president was hearing skeptical things about the Ukrainians' commitment to looking into corruption, and that he's entitled to set foreign policy, and he's entitled to send whatever advisors he wants to over to implement that policy, and that there's nothing wrong with that, then that's what you believe. And I don't think that anybody's mind was changed by what happened yesterday, and I doubt anybody's mind will be changed at the end of next week's hearings.
Let's go ahead and listen to one more piece of sound from Mr. Kent from yesterday.
I raised my concern that Hunter Biden's status as a board member could create the perception of a conflict of interests.
Now, he says perception of conflict of interest. To be fair, he also said that he didn't see any wrongdoing. He didn't witness anything that Joe Biden or Hunter Biden did wrong. What did you make of that moment?
Well, I think he was right to raise that issue at the time. I mean, there's no question that both the United States and the British were investigating the owner of Burisma Company and seeking to recoup millions of dollars that they believe had been stolen. Hunter Biden, who had no experience in the energy field, was appointed to the board, along, by the way, with another fellow who was the managing director of his company, were appointed to the board and being paid a very large sum of money, presumably to just be on the board. And then the vice president was there and said, look, unless you fire the special prosecutor who may or may not have been investigating Burisma at the time, you're not going to get $1 billion in loan guarantees. That's a quid pro quo for you. And so, you know, the Democrats can say all they want to, oh, this was a discredited theory. I don't think it's discredited. I'm not necessarily giving it credence, but the Republicans aren't being allowed to look into the matter at all.
Yeah. Okay.
John Malcolm, thank you for your time.